All right, good afternoon. Welcome back here to Trader Money. Great to have you aboard. Apologize a little bit here for my voice. I've been under the weather here this week, it has given out on me, but coming back just a little bit. So I won't be on video for too long here, but did want to jump on. We have the meeting between U.S. President Trump and Chinese Vice Premier, here shortly, and could change things. But I'm going to talk about how things are right now, what things are at this moment, and we'll go make some challenge decisions and whatnot there. But when it comes down to everything that's said, it's what we are seeing right now. It's not, okay, what could happen afterwards? Because anything could happen after this meeting, right? If this meeting, it comes out that, China and the U.S. are going to lob nuclear bombs at each other, right? Something could dramatically happen, but it's in both directions, right? So it's one of those things. We'll kind of see what happens, how that goes. I put into my note this morning that I may jump back on here in an hour and make a change in terms of the challenge if there's something uber dramatic, so we'll kind of see how that plays out here going into the close. But I have two positions on the board: Walmart and Microsoft. Microsoft going for 430, and Walmart going for, let's see, 420. Right, so Microsoft for 430, and Walmart for 420 here. Puts about between the two positions about 500, a little more than $500 in gains. We do have Walmart hitting its auto exit date today. Its red date. So if the option were red, I'd be needing to take it off, and it's not. It's in the green here. We are experiencing a very kind of slow move here with the stock. The stock itself has moved less than $2 to the upside, and we're up 345. Is that consistent with the original delta on it? Yeah, it is absolutely consistent with the original Delta. And with Microsoft, we're not coming on our auto dates here. We are slightly in the green. The stock price has moved from 138.35 up here to 140.65. So it's moved about 230, and we're up about $200. This is not quite moving with the delta. We've experienced a little bit of vega here on that, and it's what we talked about with both positions when they were made. We need to see that move to two average true ranges to keep up with the percentages that we will typically see on challenge trades. And we're not there with either of them. Could they get there? Yeah, absolutely. Do I expect them to get there? Absolutely. Walmart opened up this morning a little bit weak, but continuing to move on here, to the upside. Now today we have a record number of stocks on the challenge watch list hitting this 3-7 upside crossover. In the 3 years that we've been working on this, we have not seen this ratio, right? We've seen 24 crossovers, but that was with the watch list a lot bigger. In terms of number of crossovers relative to the size of the watch list, this is the biggest. This is the biggest. And there are two signals on the board here of these 24 stocks, and those are Halliburton and Walgreens. No, I'm not going to trade either of them, just like I didn't trade Vale yesterday. But it is one where I just don't have the cash to do it for the challenge right now. But let's put those in here: Walgreens Walgreens and Halliburton, which trades just like U.S. Steel. But let's take a look at both of these charts. WBA, this is one where, we had a little bit of crossover right back here, gave a fake, with some of the market action. We're getting a fresh new crossover here today, breaking back above that 20-day moving average. A very bullish trigger right here for Walgreens, and then Halliburton as well. Finally, the stock has set a higher low. It's been a long time since it has set a higher low. This historically frankly, has just been one of my absolute favorite stocks to trade. I'd love to go trade it for the challenge right now, but unfortunately can't right here. Could get into it Monday, if forced out of, out of Microsoft or Walmart or profit take on one of those, and there are no new signals on Monday. We could still go after it on Monday here, but we'll see how things play out. With a lot of the others, they're either coming off of lows, things like an FCX, where, it's just coming off a fresh, brand new low. And we're seeing a lot of these that have come off brand new lows, really making strong surges here to the upside. The shorts are absolutely getting lambasted here today, in a lot of these types of names, the FedExes of the world, the Triple M's of the world, these stocks that have lagged big because of concerns, with trade stuff with the U.S. and China. They are getting short squeezed in a big way here today, and in a very bullish way here today with those 3-7 crossovers. But coming off new lows, challenge is not going to count them as triggers. We also have another kind of element, things like Caterpillar, not coming off a new low, right? Has a higher low like a Halliburton, but this stock in 2 days has moved almost $10 to create the signal, and when we get that, the odds just are not in its favor. We look like right back here in April, right, where it has this beautiful 2-day jump, and that's bullish. But as far as for a challenge trade, no, because you get this type of action that we saw on it in April. The option ends up getting knocked out with a big loss there, and the stock ultimately goes higher. But the way that the ATR method works, it doesn't handle it really well. So not a new challenge trigger here. We saw similar action right back here, and I do expect that should there be a trade deal that we'll see some of these continue to go on higher. In fact, earlier this week, Caterpillar was one of those we talked about. Hey, if you want to play for a trade deal to happen, Caterpillar options are not that bad, right? We talked about that with the FXI, and so we're seeing a lot of those out there today. U.S. Steel in the same category as Caterpillar, where just too big of a move in order to trigger a signal there. General Electric here as well. It's moved 2 average, 2 ranges to get the crossover action here on it. So that's kind of how things are shaking out there. We do have some like Amazon who have a 3-7 crossover on it, but it's just not a signal, on it here today. We have things like Facebook, which had a crossover earlier this week that wasn't a signal. Vale, which, crossed over yesterday, getting a nice, push on higher here today. So anyway, that's where things lie in terms of the challenge triggers and, how things are playing out here. We had Visa trigger right along with Microsoft. It's kind of done about the same thing. We had Chipotle trigger as well, but couldn't trade it because of the option price. But it's kind of done the same thing, just that slow type of move on higher here. Okay, alrighty. So anyway. Chances are pretty good. We're going to see some fireworks here into the close of the market, and probably over the weekend, and probably into Monday's open. And I would not be surprised if we see multiple doses of news, surrounding things. There's great risk out there, right? It's one where there's great risk in the ultra short term of things, and it's one where let's say a trade deal is signed. The market's not going to have to look and go, okay, trade deal signed, now what? We got negative data, we got, slowing earnings. Okay, is the trade deal good enough to change all that? And that'll be the question that the market will have to answer, if a trade deal, does come through here today, albeit, a partial one. With it. So it's not like, trade deal sign, everything, skyrocket type of thing. We could see it, that is a potential. But anyways, last but not least, market vibe, here yesterday, as I mentioned, turned bullish. We are seeing the market internals, shift. The bullish percent index today, this is the first up day in the market where the bullish percent index has actually gone up. I mentioned this morning the the advanced decline ratio in a very strong, solid position there. And we have small caps, making a big move here today, and leading the way here today in a bullish fashion. And we finally start to see some of these transports bouncing. Very nice bullish island reversals on things like these transports that had this big breakdown right here, on at the beginning of the month on the kind of, hey, what, the negativism with the trade war stuff, and having these nice little gaps, these just beautiful island reversals, similar to what we saw right back here in May and June. We're seeing that all across the board there in transports, and so it's an incredibly bullish day. It is one where, it's one where the option values are not, super inflated, like what we see on down days in the market where the option values get heavily inflated. You can see the VIX here today really pulling back sharply. That tells you kind of what's going on with some of the option values out there. They are, that premium is compressing in a pretty strong way. And we're getting everything that we tend to get when the market puts a bear market behind it and moves into a bullish phase. What we haven't had is a super strong bear market. Right, we've had consolidation and chop for about 6 months, right? So we haven't had a super strong bearish market, but we're getting the type of action that we saw kind of back here in December and January. This is the type of action we're seeing in the market right now. And, again, all of that could be erased, with one piece of news. But in terms of the price action, what's happening, it is incredibly bullish out there. Thanks for hopping on. Have yourselves a fantastic weekend. I will hop back on here about 20 to 30 minutes before the close if we see something super dramatic. And I know dramatic is always subjective and different to different people. But if you're able to look at the market futures and just go, wow, then yeah, I'll probably be hopping on. If we're just talking about 10, 20, even maybe 30-point move, I probably will, just let things go, let the algorithm, run, and go from there. Again, thanks for hopping on, and we'll talk to you later. Take care.